what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. Live from the cosmos. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. Back to the light, ultralight beaming, I'm passing the sky. The laws of the universe, I do know my rights. Manifestation, I see changes in my life. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. Live from the cosmos. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. Back to the light, ultralight beaming, I'm passing the sky. The laws of the universe, I do know my rights. Manifestation, I see changes in my life. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. Live from the cosmos. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. Back to the light, ultralight beaming, I'm passing the sky. The laws of the universe, I do know my rights. Manifestation, I see changes.
Peace, family. Shadow Work Sundays. First and foremost, much gratitude. You know what I'm saying? Always good to connect with the Soul Tribe. You know what I mean? We here, new moon in Libra.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
let's talk about
big balance energy. You know what I'm saying? We're getting some things in order. You know what I mean? And this episode, we're actually going to be speaking about the shadow and its emergence into the light.
Yes, sir.
And in the root of that, we're talking about the identity crisis that we have, or that we go through the spiritual awakening and through the healing process, and through the shadow work. So, once again, peace, family.
Peace to the guys and the goddesses in the chat, man. Big shout outs to y'all.
Family. Ashe. Yeah, I'm tapping in with the chat. And so y'all know how we do. We start off with the singing bowl. So I'm gonna play the singing bowl just to get us connected all in our heart chakra energy and our heart space to be open for the message. So
let's get it.
I say.
Every time, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Does it?
Well, just to say this, first and foremost, these heart chakra, just these frequencies is different type of tools that we have, man. They really help, so I kind of wake up in my rising and open my heart space, you know what I'm saying? A good way to start the day. So, yes, sir.
I want to start this off, man. I'm sure Kane feels the same way, giving big gratitude to all the Shadow Work family, the Shadow Work Sundays family members, man. Everybody who pulls up consistently every Sunday, especially y'all have been rocking out with us since Instagram, man. It means a lot. So just want to, set the tone with that gratitude, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the family.
I say. Now it's a soul tribe. You know what I'm saying? Big soul tribe energy. So let's go and get into it. So let's get the definition of identity.
Let's get it.
Let's start off with that.
Cool. So identity is defined as And they give a couple of different definitions. So I'm gonna prelude this by saying this definition is a little oh, I'm sorry, that's the etymology that they do that for. Hold on. Forgive me. Identity is the fact of being who or what a person or a thing is.
Hmm.
And I'm repeat that: the fact of being who or what a person or a thing is. And then a second definition given is a close similarity or affinity.
Hmm.
So
A
that's deep.
close similarity or affinity.
Hmm.
That is deep. So let's get into the etymology. The etymology of identity is quality of being identical, oneness. And that's how I sum it up.
Interesting.
Oneness.
Hmm.
Um, so your identity, is essentially you being one with self, you being one with you. When you're not, when we are not in this, how you watch a 3D movie and it looks a certain way. It's not the picture is not all together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
we are one. That's when we and so identity crisis. Is when that is being attacked. Your oneness.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's get to
That's
crisis.
interesting.
What is the definition of crisis?
Okay, so crisis is defined as a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger.
Hmm.
Run it back, a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. A second definition. Well, no. I'm sorry, it's not a second definition. That's just one. So yeah, man, a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger.
That's
So
deep.
we know we
So
done been through crisis.
a crisis can not even be something like how people think a crisis got to be something so big. A crisis can be something in your life, your
Correct.
bills. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? You know what I'm saying? You got a situation with the lights,
We have
and
many
now the whole
crises.
world moving regular, and you in a crisis.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Yeah,
that
that's
man, that'll make you feel even crazier.
exactly. Um, well, that's deep. So
Yes.
the etymology. Um, essentially, crisis is about your awareness and your intuition. This is telling you that something needs to change. You know what I'm saying? I have to get immediate attention to the situation. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? That's what crisis. Crisis is an alert.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Something's at a
saying?
critical state.
Exactly. So crisis is almost an emotion. You see what I'm saying? That we go into in different aspects of our life,
Yeah.
right? So whenever we speak about crisis and we speak about this identity crisis, and we speak about the shadow merging from the darkness into light, then we're talking about the death and the rebirth all over again. You
Correct.
see what I'm saying? So, and as we talked about a few episodes ago on Instagram, death is an illusion that we create to teach ourselves lessons. So when it comes to these situations, as we are growing, and we're going through this identity crisis only because we're growing. We're in a place of the unknown, and
Yep.
people are maybe attacking us or reminding us of a place or something or certain things that we're actually trying to move on from.
And on
Um,
top of that, not to cut you off, it's also a matter of you're just now beginning to kind of
mm,
exhibit and live in these new frequencies and, like you said, these new behaviors and mindsets. So you might not have even been in this new you, quote unquote, long enough to identify with it. Because it does take us some time to start to, just like our trauma. Over time we start to identify with that, but it takes time and really seeing ourselves in it. So when we make this transition, perhaps we haven't been lit this long enough in this new frequency and being for it to be a part of our identity yet. So that can be a whole different side of it.
well, it's the process. You know what I'm saying? And that's when we talk about like so whenever we I like to speak as we are going through the process of going from the shadow to light, we are
Hmm.
merging between two different dimensions. You see what I'm
Facts.
saying? So we have to be comfortable with that process. And
Yes.
then and that's an uncomfortable process. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But so is growing. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Whenever you're elevating, there's a such thing as ascension symptoms.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, we talked
everything
about
has a
that.
process where it actually is not. You know what I'm saying? It's just a real process to everything. You see what I'm
Correct.
saying? So when we're going as far as the spiritual path and healing. So when you're going through that process, you know, first and foremost, I want to speak on death is an illusion. So we have to understand when the family is attacking us, that is only a reflection of them, but it's also an illusion in the sense of the pain, the trauma, what we're trying to attach to it. That's an illusion because they're just a reflection of us. Now I'm
Right.
gonna get to that later. You know what I'm saying? And so let's talk about how for us to get to the rebirth process, we have to die to actually manifest the Christ conscious, right? Christ conscious is divine feminine. Christ conscious is heart chakra. You know what I'm saying? That's our heart space.
Compassion, love.
Exactly.
And I wanna say Brandon Drake just said new levels, new devils, yet no new tricks. Like, ooh.
Exactly. 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 And so, but look, so when we manifest this Christ conscious, right? This is a part of us coming into the light. The shadow has been in the darkness, and so some that I actually have in the notes. I guess I think I'm gonna try to quote it off the top of my head. Is the shadow was not aware that the shadow was the light the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And so this is the process that we're going through. It's a process, but it's a beautiful process because all along I'll realize that we are the light and the shadow, and they are
Correct.
one. You
Yep.
know, and
Because
so
and I want to speak on that real quick because that's when you know, people when they get into spirituality might be under the impression that you have to remove the shadow or you got to destroy your shadow or this that, and the third. But like you just said,
right,
when you come down to it, it's like you merge with the shadow because you know your higher self and your shadow they're two sides of the same coin. And
right,
I think I heard you speak on even like the aspect of duality. Where being on the 3D plane, we live in a world of duality. So there's always going to be a shadow for a higher self or a higher self for a shadow,
exactly.
But as you said, once you know that the two are one and the same, and even taking it down to scripture, there's a scripture that says, when you make the two eyes one, your entire body will be full of light. I
I
felt
say
like I felt like that's speaking on that you have to get out of that dualistic mindset and seeing, oh, shadow is bad, higher self is good, and you
exactly.
see the oneness of it all. So I share that for you bringing up that point.
No, that's very powerful. And so let's look at it for far as death. Death is a form of separation.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So when we go through this death and rebirth, we are separating from certain parts of ourself, right? You're
Correct.
growing, you're outgrowing. So it's like whenever we say that the shadow is the light, that's because if you in a certain period of time, if you look at this reflection from a certain distance or a certain angle, you will see every aspect of it.
It's a fact. I
You
show.
see what I'm saying? And that is us. That is the shadow and the light. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so as we grow and as we actually transform, that's what it is. We're transforming. You know what I'm saying? I've talking to a few people, well, actually one specific person. I'm not gonna say her name, but a guy that she talked about being a light being. You know, and that is a part of this process. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? The shadow is someone that is judgmental on other people and self, angry at other people and self.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Everything that you felt about yourself that you projected, just as I did. You see what I'm saying? I was a
Hmm.
very angry person, so I projected anger. You see what I'm saying? But as my shadow actually started to come more into the light, you see what I'm saying? I started to smile more. You see what I'm saying? So that is an evolution. You see what I'm
Correct.
saying? And so that is the evolution that we're in, especially as as neuromelanated people, where we come
Hmm.
from, where we don't have emotional intelligence. So or we're not taught emotional intelligence. So we really freestyle in every situation.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We don't really have nobody to call and get advice from. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why it was so easy for them to say, you know what I'm saying, call Jesus, truthfully. And it was like, you know what, this is that. I need something to give me hope.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But when we actually do that shadow work and we're going through this healing process and we become Christ and we connect with love, as you talked about a few
Deep.
episodes ago, love is a superconductor.
Yeah.
It never gets tired. So when we're tapped into that energy, we are forever ascending and ascending and ascending and ascending. You see what I'm saying?
That's heavy. Once we tapped into that frequency, that's the literal God frequency.
I
You
say,
know,
I say, I
that's
say.
deep.
Exactly. But that's the point we talked about the levels. You know what I'm saying? Are we all at a level of gods? We know that we are gods, You know what I'm saying? That's our birthright. That's part of
Right.
the true history of who we are, past this realm and past this lifetime, but in this current time, are we tapping into that energy?
Exactly.
If we know that we were who we are, and know that our ancestors are who they are, then are we tapping into that energy and walking in that energy?
And low key, it's kind of just coming to me now. But even what I had said before about identifying with it, it's like, we're used to identifying with the flesh. We're used to identifying with the body, with the experiences, with the circumstances. But like you said, now we have to identify with the godhood, with the God body. We got to bring heaven down to earth in a way, so to speak. We have to, in the same way that we made, those certain traumas and those heartbreaks and things of that nature are part of our identity, and we walked around with it. Now we have to make this God part of ourselves, our identity, and we have to walk around, because a lot of people feel like, I feel like due to the whole religious program, that we're very far removed from the divine, or that we're far removed from spirit, or that God part of us, and that almost like we don't have a right to access that, or we don't have a right to exercise it and to embody it. But like you said, it's making the two one. It's like for a while now we've identified with this body, this flesh, these experiences, but now it's time for us to bring it home, like you said, and begin to identify with this, with this reborn, activated self. I think,
Keep this out.
and hold on, and not to wrap it up, Dr. B Serious has spoke on, when that Kundalini energy rises and fires up and down your spine, that it sends a wave out to spirit, like a notification that tells spirit that you're awakened now, that you're activated. So I felt like, spirit's just waiting on us, to activate it, and not say like, oh, I can't be that, or that's too far removed, but it's waiting for us to fire up and get online.
No, that's deep, bro. First and foremost, and I was gonna say, just when you was talking, you was making me, had me thinking. Um, the question is like, so God at his at I don't like to say his or her, in that way, but I would say God, the Netzeru, at his highest form of what you saw growing up, like, when you would think about God, you know what I'm saying, like as a child, who was God,
Mm,
and then reflect that back on you. You know what I'm saying? If you thought that God was the most loving being, you see what I'm saying? If you thought that God, because obviously a lot of us had positive. We all
right,
grew up in the church as
right.
as a child. You know what I'm saying? So we were infiltrated before we could even think. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
um, but when you think about that, I think that's really a good thing, even if it was a negative, because that's still an example of what you're not going to be as a God.
Correct.
Because why do you look at that as a negative?
Hmm.
Because you don't look at, because obviously there's certain parts of the Bible where we know that there is it's not that they're not talking about the same God throughout the Bible. There's a
That's a
loving
fact.
God, and then there's a very egotistical, narcissistic
Jealous. Yeah.
God that is just a murderer and just go and just kill people and take their land.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I'm saying? So it's two parts of that,
Hmm.
that's to manipulate. You know what I'm saying? See, love is the strongest energy. So what people don't get is that's why they sleep on the divine feminine. They sleep on the goddess. You know what I'm saying? The men, yes, we are powerful. We are warriors, but there's nothing like the love. You didn't see movies. You didn't hear the stories where,
Yeah.
like, example all the time, where if a mother, she can be scary. This woman can be, when you can scare her when she come around the corner, she'll jump.
Hmm.
But let something happen with her baby, she gonna risk her life. You see what I'm saying? And that's the power of love. You see what I'm saying? So, you know,
So I'm sure you've seen video. People will call it adrenaline, but there's one video I saw. A mother's child was trapped in her car, and the mother lifted the car like bare hands. You know what I'm saying? And got the child out. Some people will say adrenaline rush, or this and the
no,
third, but like
man,
you
she
said, I
channeled
feel
that
like
energy,
it's
bro.
it's exactly channeling that energy through the vessel of love. You know.
Exactly. And that's what we have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna speak on this real quick, and this not necessarily off subject because it's still about the shadow, but it's just personally. So I didn't have a situation where somebody done aggravated me. You feel me? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a little argument or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm bobbing high, and for me not to get off track, I had to channel the energy in that moment to something positive, to actually something spiritual. I had to channel it, to Shadow Work Sundays, truthfully, and just start.
That's
And
deep.
I watched Dr. B, not Dr. B, Brother Yosef and Brother Rich. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Just giving. I started to tap in and do more studies. But point is, I channeled that energy. And it felt amazing. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is once you get your mind, this quantum computer is powerful. So once our mind shift, the
yeah,
whole energy shift. And
yeah,
so all that built up energy that we had, we was ready to slap somebody. All this built up energy that you had, now it's channeled over here, and you're doing even if it's playing a video game or playing with your child. You're like, what, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take my mind off this,
yeah.
and just be present. The power
Exactly.
and being the present in the moment. You know what I'm saying? I think
That's the
us as
cheat
us,
code.
and I'm not trying to completely just speak about us, but it's just that's what it is. Us as neuromelanated people, we think too much about nothing. You know what I'm saying? We think about every possibility. We think about every outcome. We think about what could happen, what won't happen, what will happen. We constantly thinking, and we're not present.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
My brother's in the chat right now. You know what I'm saying? Drake, King
Okay.
OC, and we talking about living in the trenches, right? I'm talking about we out here, you know what I'm saying? This is what, you know what I'm saying, like living in the trenches. And guess what? Whenever I go in bro house, you don't even feel like you were like you don't. We there all night to 3 o'clock in the ride. We lit.
Just
It
like you
don't.
in a whole different realm,
We in a
basically.
whole different dimension, bro. And that's the power that we have. You see what I'm saying? Based off being present,
Mm-hmm.
or choosing to overthink. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? Like, yeah, we could spend time with the family talking about the bills and the problems and the issues. But
Mm-hmm.
okay, we can let them know, give them a little update. You know what I'm saying? But then, how are we gonna channel that energy into a positive conversation where now me and the fam is kicking it and we actually getting something out of this for when we leave? Not both of us are
Correct.
drained. You see what I'm saying? Um,
Mm-hmm. That's heavy.
so let's go into to the birth. Birth of the new self.
Mm-hmm.
Moving between dimensions at two dimensions at one time.
And it's perfect. 'Cause
You
like
know,
you said, we're on a new moon, so it's a perfect time to be thinking about that new self,
come on
the
now,
new
bro.
manifestations. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Come
exactly.
on with it.
And that energy actually hit at 555 EST.
I know.
Um,
And that's I don't even know what to call that. That's crazy.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. Um, so boom, so basically embody the unknown parts of you. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, this is what Julio was saying. This part of our meeting. So if you don't know the new you, then how do you expect other people to respect the new you?
Oh
And
yeah.
so, we have to embody this, embody the change, embody who you are. If you don't do that no more, and you ain't been around, you know what I'm saying, your homies or your people, or your tribe, your family in a minute, and they kind of like still rocking with certain things you don't do, stand on it. You know what I'm saying? And continue to
Yeah.
stand on it, because that's going to build your confidence first and foremost. And secondly, they'll have to respect it at some point. Or it'll just have to be, a situation where, you have to figure out if that's a positive thing for you to interact with.
Because and they say, ultimately in life, we teach people how to treat us by, what we accept, what we don't accept, how we
Mm.
interact. So like you said, not only do you have to embody it, but then you kind of have to teach people, you know what I'm saying, like about this new, like these new mindsets that you have and these new, I guess, kind of standards that you have for life. You kind of have to not force it on people as in teach them, but you kind of have to embody in a way that shows people like, okay, he's not swaying, he's not playing about this. It's like you constantly
That's more
reinforce.
powerful than talking, bro.
Exactly.
Like, that's why I say actions speak louder than
Just be the
words,
example. Yeah.
bro. No cap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to speak on this too. And then I want to get to this comment.
Okay.
So, um, my goddess, right? Far as we're just gonna talk about the health thing because this is something we talked about today recently. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Sorry, baby. You know what I'm saying? So, with her growing, you know what I'm saying? Far as with the food that she eating, she don't eat meat, she don't eat dairy, and it's a process that she growing. But when I was telling her constantly, it was a confrontation. You see what I'm saying? When I was constantly overly, every time she eats some cheese, every time she eats some meat, I'm like, man, look, you know what I'm saying? Giving her, you know what I'm saying, the facts. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It was annoying. It was overbearing. It didn't work. But as I kept living my life, and you know what I'm saying, like sticking to this, she was like, man, let me see what's good. You know what I mean? Let me
right.
try that. And so I think that's the power of
That's
influence,
heavy.
especially where we come from, bro. Our parents said what they used to tell us.
Do as I say, not as I do.
There we go. There we go. That's a
That's
major contradiction.
yeah. Because that make you not want to do it. It's like, but you not even, you like what? Why should I? It must be something adverse at the end of that tunnel if you're not even, So
You
yeah,
might even want to do it, but you like, you know what I'm
right.
saying? The person that told me not doing it, like, it's not a credible source.
Yeah,
You
that's
know.
heavy. But like you said,
So
when you just display that, it's different.
look, Purple Lotus Flower 888 said we should ask to be used as a vessel to manifest things in physical form. I say, you
That's a
know,
fact. That's a whether you want to call it praying, meditating on something. I have and do from time to time meditate on just that and being, a reflection of, the most high and of, even Big Mama, because I feel like it's important that we quote unquote bring heaven down to earth, that Christ, like you speak on a lot, that Christ consciousness coming back into our hearts to where, you know, just like we're talking about the shadow and the higher self become one, the earth and her higher self becomes one as well, because that's a thing. That's definitely a thing. And essentially even us being here, us as humans and other forms of life, we are holders of that light in this realm. That light that light accesses this realm more through us or has the potential to. So I feel like it's important to consciously be a vessel to channel these things into our realm. So I shade the purple lotus flower. I've been on that 888 frequency too, so that's I'm liking that with the name. King, know we've been on the 888 frequency a little bit um, for the past I'd say week or so. Um, okay, Amini Power says, "How you guys in chat? New subscriber, learn about your beautiful channel. We're watching Black Magic. Oh, excellent! I'm so grateful for you guys speaking on this. Ashe, Ashe, and listen, we have gratitude for you being here. And yeah, Black Magic 363. We as you saw King on this channel, we're big fans of what he's doing in this channel. The brother's doing very big things with those high frequency interviews, man. So Ashe, we appreciate you for being here.
yeah, much gratitude, much gratitude, much gratitude. Yeah, we
Speak
appreciate
for Brother
brother.
Rich.
Yeah, and appreciate you for showing up, family. And for the support.
Yes.
Joining the Soul Tribe.
Yeah, all of that.
I say, be an example of change. You want to see actions speak louder than some words.
Oh
And
yeah.
I like how it's some words because that's a fact.
Yeah.
Because the words are powerful as well. With you know what I'm saying, we manifest daily through our words, but also be an example of change
Yeah. Be the
that you
agent
want
of
to see.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's an accountability. You know what I'm saying? That's walking through your heart, walking in your higher self. You know what I'm saying? Living in your divinity. So
Because I like to say, you can wait on change or you can be the change. We can wait for change to come through some external force outside of ourselves, but sometimes it's unlikely, or we can be the change and we can initiate that. So I like that.
exactly.
I like that a lot.
So so let's talk about this. So in this process of this identity crisis, we tend to feel lost. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it start and then like in this lost process, we start to overcompensate. So if say
Every time somebody try to overcompensate, that's when they do too much. You know.
exactly. So say you're a very nice person, a very giving person. Now that you're feeling lost, you may be more vulnerable to people taking advantage. or say that, you know what I'm saying, like in my situation, I was more of an angry person and snapping. So I was more in a situation where I was more prone to snap, or more just be good, just doing the most. You know what I'm saying? Acting super wild. So we have to understand that we're that we are crazy, but
No.
we're not lost.
Yeah.
And so you say, what you mean we crazy? Well, not in the definition, but to an extent we are. So in this time of this identity crisis. So the definition of crazy is mentally deranged, especially as manifested in a wild or aggressive way. So that's the definition. So there's some type of aggression based on in this situation, as far as
And that's
mentally.
a and that's a whole different story what people consider crazy. Most people say crazy and they're not talking about wild or deranged, you know. It's like you say, you know, a theory, you know, that's crazy.
But
You
guess
know.
what though? But this is where it gets deep, because that's, I'm like, the definition cool. What's the etymology? You know what I'm saying?
Definition cool.
Um,
Not really fucking
so
with it.
you feel me? So the etymology is full of cracks
For crazy.
for crazy, bro. Come on now, man. So being that we are reflections of each other,
Hmm.
sometimes, they only calling us crazy because they feel crazy, because they broken and we broken. They can see our brokenness. You know what I'm saying? That's why we clash. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like we speaking about the energy of the aspect of it. Like they might not know this, and we may not have known this, but it's a clash of broken people. That's why I say hurt people hurt people. You
And
see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna make it real. What's if put it this way? Calling something crazy is easier than exploring something and really getting to the bottom of it. And I think Dave Chappelle said, you know, crazy is essentially is dismissive. It allows people to, you know, just dismiss something. And think about it. You know, if somebody's talking and you're not really listening and you don't have a response, what's the easiest thing you can say? Damn, that's crazy. And not even if you calling it crazy, but like we're so used to, like, you know, that's the whole thing. Like somebody not listen to you, they hit you with the, yeah, damn, that's crazy. You know, it's just easier to say that's crazy and to just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know,
But guess what though? So bringing my bro up again, that's in the chat, King OC. We would stop saying that's crazy and say that's amazing.
I like
You
that.
see what I'm saying?
I
You
like that.
know, that's amazing because it got the same. It's the same energy. It's the same, like far as like the syllables. It should come off the same way. It
Right.
should feel the same way. That's amazing. You
Yeah, I
know.
like that.
So in this process of coming from the shadow to the light, I had to
Hmm.
become comfortable with loving myself, bro. I had to become comfortable. Like I wasn't comfortable with saying affirmations out loud, or really even saying affirmations to myself.
I
I
was
felt
there too.
uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So like where I came from, the place of what love really looked like and what a man looked like, and going through the shadow of my father and all that. Like I had to figure out how to actually love myself enough to even be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm, that's heavy.
yeah, bro.
That's heavy.
Sometimes saying crazy is a catch, is all a catch.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes saying crazy is a catch-all phrase for something we cannot define, explain, or articulate. Yeah, like it's just the generalization that makes it easier to write off. You know, instead of like, you know, like nah, let's get to the bottom of this, or like let's build on that, or like let's figure this out. It's just like a that's crazy anyway. You know, and kind of moving on
Exactly.
from there. So
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But just understanding the power of our words. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And when we speak, you know what I'm saying, we actually are creating, you know, um, we're creating in this dimension.
Because that's deep from what you said, the definition with the cracks. That's what, basically like some you saying something to somebody going, oh, that's full of cracks. You know, it's like because they don't see the
Exactly.
wholeness of it or they don't see the validity of it. You know, to
But I
them, all
think
it was
even
just
people with
cracks.
emotional situations, like people that they say are on the spectrum, I don't really believe in that type of situation. But it's
Mm,
like you would look at that person and you would say they are crazy,
yeah,
and it's like, yo, full of cracks. That means that, you know what I'm saying. Like you should be wanting to offer help and love and
exactly.
see whatever you. If you look at, you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Really looking at somebody as crazy is actually it's worse than what we would think. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's really a broken person.
Hmm.
They're not crazy. They broken, but the definition of what they told us crazy was, You see what I'm saying? It messes up the whole psychological aspect of
It
us
does.
being able to accept that that we come from crazy families,
Oh yeah.
right? Our families be tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, growing up, the different situations we didn't dealt with, they were broken.
Everybody's
Our
crazy in their
families
own
full of
way.
cracks.
Everybody, and it's to the point. Like I embrace being called crazy. I'm the Joker type at this point. It's like when somebody says like, "Oh, you're crazy," that just tells me like you're not ready to receive what I'm putting down. It's like, yeah, because we're all, like I said, we're all crazy in our own right. We all have something to us that would make that if somebody saw it, they would call us crazy. So but that thing that makes us all crazy makes us all unique and beautiful. So okay,
So
we see. Yes, but when we are more intentional with our words, I agree. We need to speak positive words. That's amazing, deep, creative. Just training our minds to speak life and not death. I say.
I say, and really
I
just
say.
understanding because these words are spells anyway. We understand
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
while we're speaking this language, really understanding what we're really saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have some people that look at me like, "Wow, I don't say good morning." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you really understand? Like, there's only to me. I
Grand
really.
rising irritates some people, and it's some people. Some people look at it like, yo, why you keep
But I,
grand
I look
rising?
at it like, why does that irritate you? You
Listen,
know what I'm
man.
saying?
Me too.
Because when you wake up every day, what do you see? You see the
They're like,
sun.
I'm so
You
used to
see what I'm
death.
saying?
I need you to speak death.
You know, but yeah, like I said, when you wake up every rising, what do you see? You see the sun. You see Ra.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So whether you know it or not, you're subconsciously giving praise and giving reverence. When you walk outside and be happy that it's not raining,
You rise
that
like
the
the
sun is
sun.
out. Come on now. You know what I'm
Right
saying?
not morning.
Exactly. Um, so let's talk about this. So whenever we're in this shadow process, right, in the shadow emerging into the light, this is a big change process.
Yes.
Once again, I'm talking to my people. We have had a problem with change.
Yeah.
If you, I know how I was. If you took me to a restaurant, I had my Dominican homie. He take me to different places or asked me to try certain foods. I'm like, bro, I'm good. I
I'm good.
don't,
The
I
way
don't
you
know
said it,
what that
I'm
is.
good.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not eating that. You feel me? My mama ain't never made it. My
I'm
grand, I
cool.
don't, you know
I
what
ain't
I
really
mean?
fucking with it. I'm
you
good on
know,
it.
I,
Facts.
I was one of them people missed these. I was like, I'm from East Waco, Texas. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I'll never leave. I'm not even talking about the city. I'm saying I'm never leaving this side. How about that? I'm saying I'm just gonna stay on this side, period, and just like that's so small minded. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I'm saying that we have to look at the attacks in our community and not
Yep.
saying that we're fighting that certain thing, but maybe we are. So assess that because change is a part of this process. We have to embrace change. We have to be comfortable with change. We have to, you know, change is the part of the process. We should be embracing change. Like when I do shadow work, I do it because I want to change.
Correct.
You know, I love the process of change, even when it hurts. I talk to my goddess and I'm crying or whatever emotion I'm feeling, whatever I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm expressing these childhood traumas or think because I'm in a place where I'm starting to remember certain things that I you know what I'm saying that I didn't remember. So
Mm,
I'm expressing these certain traumas. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going through it, but I'm at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. We talk, you know what I'm saying? And I smoke me a little something. I got some herbs. I got a little mix, whatever, Damiana and different things. I chill out and we start talking and I reflect and it's nothing but life for me. I see that I just elevated to another level of the light, to the light.
mm.
Even though it seemed like that was a bad time. That was, you know what I mean? It was change.
And the only thing constant is change. If there's one thing you should expect at all times, is change. So I feel like the sooner you get used to change and you embrace it, the better. Because like I said, the only constant in this realm is change. Things are constantly, energy is constantly being changed and transmuted. Not like they say, um, energy isn't created to destroy, but it's always transmuting. So If there's one thing we can count on, and at least in this realm, it's change. So, and like we speak on, you really got to get used to that. And I feel like you have to live in that that unknown of the change. That's where the most miracles happen. That's where the most life happens and the most growth. Um, because a lot of people don't get some of that growth because they're avoiding change.
Mhm.
They don't want any type of change from their physical immediate environment to their, especially their inner world.
Right.
So I feel like the sooner we get used to change, just randomly changing things in our house to reflect us more, or being willing to, if the whole week has gone a certain way, we've repeated every day, to just say, you know what, I'm going to do today completely different. It's like that change is where I call it like the in between. Between
Right.
the past and the future is that you don't know what's going to happen, and you just have to be resonating your highest frequency in the midst of it all.
And truthfully, it's a part of the inner child. To me, that freeness, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And maybe me as in my healing process, I haven't found like I have freedom as a man, as far as like and within myself as a man, but my freest part of me, that I feel like that makes me feel free, that is almost like a relief, is my inner child.
Yeah.
Um, so that's very powerful. So I'm listening. You can say something, bro.
I was well, what you just said made me think that you can even really equate your inner child to your higher self. Your inner child and your higher self are low key one and the same. What when you think about it, like as a kid, even if you was like, let's say you found out you were going to the amusement park for the first time, that you were going to ride roller coasters, right? You were just there for the excitement and the expectation of joy. There was no, you didn't have that thought process then of like, okay, when I get there, how am I going to ride the roller coaster? Am I going to be scared? Am I? You don't even go through that like thought process. It just is. You are in the moment. The moment is pure, and you're happy and comfortable there. You know.
So this is funny. I love how the spirit moves, because this next message right here is actually the next place that we're going in the show anyway. But it's just
Okay.
amazing.
And Mashana says, as we ascend, others also have an identity crisis of us as we don't act, speak the way we used to. They aren't used to us doing things with God energy. Yes, ma'am.
So first and
Spot
foremost,
on.
so let's talk about it. I say.
I say for real. If she had a
So
hammer and there was a nail, she just
no, for real, facts. You know what I'm saying? So imagine that you've been comfortable with a person, right? They start changing. They ain't coming around as much. They're not entertaining your toxic conversations. They're not playing the victim. See what I'm saying? This is where it get real. You see what I'm saying? Because so what they don't know is that our shadow is going through the same process they going through.
yeah.
So while they are judging us and getting frustrated with us and shifting gears on us, and really trying to get us to tap in, you know what I'm saying, to that old self, our shadow is actually so the shadow only has purpose through you fighting to get to the light. You know what I'm saying?
I say.
Actually, I actually said that wrong. The shadow purpose is to stop you from getting to the light. And so, with that being said, when you are focused on elevating and doing things that you're doing, the same energy that you feel from your family, the shadow got the same energy. The
And
shadow.
what you just said made me think. Would you even play a video game if there was no opponent, if there was no challenge in the story mode? Some of the best games we've ever played are set up the same way. There's there's an end to the game. You know that you're gonna get these certain items, you're gonna acquire whatever, but there's always bosses to fight. There's always enemies. There's always some form of opposition which propels you towards that goal. So it's like life is the same way. It's like what would this, if you consider this life or in this realm to be somewhere that our souls come for growth, right? What would this place be if it weren't for these things? You know, that there wouldn't be any agitator or agent provocateur, so to speak, or
Mm.
any like challenging factor that pushes you towards, you know, your highest goal, which is the attainment, of ascension. So it's like, I feel like it's like that's that perspective change we're talking about of like, oh, okay, like, these things aren't here for my negative interest, but they're here for my best interest to see to it that I'm constantly being challenged and pressured. We like to get into that pressure. That's how nature works. It pressures until it pops or until it um
When
you
the
know
pressure's on, the oil come out. You feel me? And they
exactly.
say pressure bust pipes. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
so many aspects of that. That pressure.
Yep.
But what we got to know is that we've already thrived under pressure. Living in America,
It's a
living
fact.
in this 3D realm, and surviving the things that we've already survived. We already got that down. We
Yeah.
just got we just like I feel like my main thing with me is like knowing the target, right? So shadow work is about assessing, right? And reflecting and really going deep into that reflecting to the point where you can see what the target is. Okay, I need to hit this target.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at that moment, I don't care if it's a thunderstorm, snowing, raining, you know what I'm saying, tornado, whatever it is, I'm focused on this target.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because truthfully, everything around me is an illusion anyway. You see what I'm saying? It's like what is it called? Okay, like some CGI or some blue beam type of situation, and it's
Mhm.
like it's not real, but it looks real. You see what I'm saying? It's an energy, a technology working against me. You see what I'm saying? And so that's how I go, bro. I got to stay looking at the target. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're gonna be. That's the only way that we're gonna be able to walk and make it to like from the shadow to the light and have our shadow merge as one. We have
Facts.
to be comfortable with knowing that it's gonna be distractions, knowing that your family gonna act different, knowing your
Mhm.
friends are gonna start acting different. Pay attention to the energy that's going on the planet at the current time when things are happening. That way you can pay attention to the messages that your ancestors are sending you. Pay
For
attention to the
sure.
warnings that your angels are sending you. Our ancestors, God, the Netzeru, speaks in many, many forms and many ways. And so we have to make sure that we're connected with the energy so we know, okay, this person could be a part of my shadow. You see what I'm saying? Some people are attached to our shadow, and that's a cold part.
And listen, I'm a believer in, because again, we're talking about people or what we call other people, and when we even say it like that suggests separation. That suggests that we're not all one. That there's a separateness between, me and you, when essentially, there's not. But um I feel like when we really come down to it, and what I'm about to say, Jody B's comment actually taps in on this heavily. She says, "Shadow work helped me increase my compassion for people I felt wronged me, irritated me, or just didn't like me. It has shown to been one of the biggest soul growth tools I've learned." And what I was about to say is, um, people or other people are reflections of us. They're reflections of our inner world. We attract certain people, or certain people are drawn to us um, because of what we're displaying or feeling in our inner world, and they're simply reflecting that. So and as Jody B says, bringing it to our comment, once you realize that these beings are really reflecting back to you what you're transmitting from your being, it really allows you to be more compassionate, because it makes it less personal. It's not a matter of, oh, this person just doesn't like me, or this person is always challenging me. But you realize that, um, you know, what annoys us the most in others is sometimes what annoys us the most in ourselves. So when you realize that that's simply a reflection, it allows you to display a lot more compassion and understanding. Because I've been in that place, Jody B, quite recently, where it's hard to look at others as annoying, or even those who wronged you, with the kind of mentality of like, oh, like, I wish they never, or they should have never, and I'll show them. But when you really start giving that compassion, that's when you get to level 9,000, I would say, of shadow work, because you're no longer, seeing a world outside of yourself that's out to get you, and this person doesn't like you because you're spiritual now. But you're really understanding that, uh, as above, so below, and as within, so without. You're only the same compassion that you would give to yourself for displaying some of those same qualities is the compassion you're going to give to others. And that's when you bring everything full circle. Okay, Brendan Drake says sabbaticals are needed for anchors, in your arrived truth. Ooh,
That's heavy.
sheesh. I
I
say,
say, you know what I'm saying? I
I
say, I
say,
say. That's so that sabbatical. If you don't know what that is, you know, that is that time, intentional time of separation, and in this time you have intentional work, intentional things, an intentional plan, an intentional schedule, and we are, and it's
yeah,
also it's a time of healing, rest, and manifestation. You know what I'm saying? And I like it, in your arrival of truth. It's whenever we have these revelations and then we get to these places where we feel like we're in an identity crisis.
yeah,
You know, but the truth has become more evident in our life. You know what I'm saying? You are the truth. I am the truth. And essentially, technically, I would say this: we are different parts of the truth. To go back to Brother Rich page, I love his page and the people that come on there, because they all have different parts of the truth. You know what I'm saying? Just as we have different parts of the truth. You see what I'm saying?
we're all different expressions of the same truth.
And so, like I said, what's the collective without all the pieces? So when we get to that, now when we get to the collective, now we have all of the truth. But we have to heal. You see what I'm saying? So us healing is actually us tapping into the power of Christ
Yeah,
again with the divine feminine energy, because Christ is not a masculine energy. We tap into that heart space. We tap into love as a collective, and we rise and we ascend. You see what I'm saying? But the healing is the key. You know,
hmm,
um, me and Julio talk a lot about this shadow work when we have real conversations, and have went through a lot of real situations. You know what I'm saying? Since we've been doing shadow work Sundays, you know, and truthfully, it don't stop, but it's a beautiful process. You know what I'm saying? I smile. We call each other like, man, it was crazy. Then we got another call, and it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I made it through it.
yeah.
I see what the lesson was for me. You know what I'm saying? You are so genius that you came here to teach yourself these lessons that you didn't learn, so that you don't got to come back here ever again.
Because I've always long said this, right? You got to think about this: when you're outside of your body, and um, you, you let me get my words together. I'm reading the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. There's a chapter called Starry Night, where Thoth explains that, I believe the chapter is called Starry Night. Thoth explains that until he was able to get out of his body and bring his awareness outside of the body, that he wasn't able to see clearly. And for that entire chapter, he called the body the bondage of night. um, when you're outside of a body and when you're not an embodiment, you know all things in existence. You're like a supercomputer. And
Mhm.
I used to have a thing with being on YouTube and looking at people's near death experiences and comparing the similarities to what they were saying to get an idea for this other side people were seeing. And a lot of people said the same thing. As soon as they left the body, they knew everything in existence. They thought about a question, it was there instantly. Like they were almost all knowing. So if you think about, right, if you're a soul and you know everything there is to know in existence, you have the status of a god. Wouldn't that make it a little bit more difficult for you to learn anything because you know everything, right? So like you just said, your soul is such a genius. It puts itself, so to speak, in these very tight parameters that we call time and space, or the 3D realm, so that you're locked into only, instead of knowing all things from all aspects and all angles with all knowingness, now you're locked into one frame of awareness from one point in time through which you have to see and do everything. So the opportunity of growth that gives you is insane. That's the with reincarnation. You live as a white woman, you live as a black woman, you live as a rich man, you live as a poor man, you live as a tall man, you live as a short man. but you are learning everything about all those different perspectives where you wouldn't be able to do that just in your purest form of spirit, because there's nothing for you to wonder about. There's nothing for you to, so I feel like that's like a really important
Well,
part of this place.
well, I think it's called an awakening,
Yeah.
and we keep having them
Yeah.
over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's what's so deep even about that, and we call it an awakening. It's like
It's a remembering.
obviously talk about it.
You
It's a
know,
no,
it's a remembering,
just So the point is that this shadow aspect of what we do and what we're doing is only here for elevation. You know what I'm saying? It's only here for elevation.
Mhm.
So let's go into it. So your shadow is now emerging into the light.
It's
And
like,
so emerging definition is becoming a part, I mean becoming apparent or prominent.
mm,
Um emergent. So once again, your shadow is emerging into the light. So becoming
see,
apparent or prominent. Etymology is becoming known or coming to light.
that's deep, because the shadow itself is only the shadow because it's the parts of us we try to, put to the back, throw in the closet with
Exactly.
the skeleton, lock the
Exactly.
door. But now, when we talking about shadow work, we talking about literally what you just said, the shadow coming into the light so it can be known, because prior
Kicking
to
it with the shadow. You like, yo, you know what I'm saying? What we working on today?
it, right, you
That's
trying to figure
simple.
out who he is. I'm gonna tell you some, man. Because if nobody knows, like what I do during the day is like day trading. With like forex and stocks and things of that nature. Let me tell you, and I've said it before, that can be a real mirror as to who you are when you get on these charts and you start doing certain things. Man, I had to look at myself like, hey, bro, you're greedy, or like, oh, you're impatient. So like you just said, it's like the shadow sits down and you're like, yo, you're like, I didn't even know you was back there. I didn't know I was impatient. I didn't know
Right.
I was greedy. But now that it's in front of you, now you can assess it. Now you can figure out, how to put, maybe it's parts of your shadow that been holding you back and you didn't even realize it because you didn't even know that it existed in that state. So like that's when the opportunity really comes for you to walk a different walk. Once these things that were previously in the dark, like you said, are now in the light sitting in front of you. You chopping it up with the shadow.
No,
So
for sure.
I like how you said that, because I feel like that's like, that's what shadow work is. It's going into that dark room, flipping the lights on, and seeing what's in there.
You know what? So first and foremost, I'm gonna say this. Your shadow, our shadow is coming. I'm not. No, I ain't gonna say that. Our shadow is done hiding. That's what I'm trying to say. Our shadow is done hiding.
Oh shit.
So at some point, our shadow was intimidated. You know how somebody like if you've been in a dark room, say you've been in the house for 3 days straight or something. You know what I'm saying? You go
Mm,
outside, um, and that bright light is irritating to your eyes. You know what I'm saying? The shadow dealt with that. You know what
mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And probably on like a so-called vampire aspect. You know how they try to play like the vampires can be in the sun type of thing. Like on some like that light was irritating to our shadow.
It's funny you speak on that, because I saw probably some years ago, I saw a video that really kind of did something to me, and it was a priest that was channeling a negative entity in this woman, right? And the backstory was that this lady had just had this being exorcised from her because it was possessing and oppressing her. So the priest brings the spirit back so he can talk to it. While he's talking to it, and I let my discernment tell me if something's valid or not. When the priest, he says a certain hymn and he brings the spirit back into the woman's body, you see an immediate change in her eyes and in her demeanor. And something that happens immediately is the woman starts scooting away from the priest. And the priest said, why are you scooting away? And the benevolent or malevolent being says to it, because there's a light coming off of you and it's irritating me and it's hurting me. Crazy. So the imam or the priest being compassionate, sings a hymn that I guess dimmed his spiritual light enough where it was okay now for that spirit to be in the presence of it. So it's funny you say that because, like I said, when I saw that video, from my discernment, it was valid. You know what was going on in the video, but that part struck me um, as powerful that light, like you said, is irritating to not only the shadow but to malevolent beings because it's like
So,
a bright light, you
so
know.
look, so we talked about this earlier, right? We was on the phone chopping it up. I was getting grounded. You was doing what you was doing. We was chopping, and so I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? When I be out getting grounded, me and my guys doing what we doing, meditating, what we doing. You know what I'm saying? A certain type of people be just staring at us. You feel me? So I'm like, and I typically don't really say nothing too much, but today, not I wasn't really frustrated, but I was kind of like, bro, these, you know what I'm saying, constantly be just staring, bro, looking
And
at
then
us like,
to be transparent with the family, I'm irritating him even more because I'm in this here talking about some. Just don't think about it, bro. You can't. He's like, bro, you don't understand. I'm already not thinking about it, but you
you know,
know, and
I'm really
that's probably your light. It's
exactly
because
that's what
we didn't even take it here in the convo earlier, but now bringing it full circle, it's like if there's types of beings like that, they probably feel that light where it's just like, whoa,
no, because you got to understand what I heard. It don't have to just be them type of beings. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to keep in
yeah,
mind we have auras, we have aura fields.
yeah,
So with that being said, you know what I'm saying? Someone can feel the vibration of your aura field. You see what I'm saying? That's why when you walk in a room, you can shift the whole room. You know what I'm saying? That is your aura shifting the energy of that room.
yeah,
So if they on some other type of energy and your energy is almost like opposite energy per se, and they don't understand that it's really on one line and just need to balance it out, and they want to be confrontational with that energy, and that's how people, you know what I mean, get
yeah,
into it for nothing. People meet each other. I don't like her. You know
mm-hmm,
what I'm saying? It's a vibration.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's a light fighting with darkness, not knowing that they're both the same thing. Us as
mm-hmm.
melanated people, this neuromelanin is light.
Man,
This is
what?
light. This is not darkness. You see what I'm saying? I don't think people get it. The cosmos and the darkest part of the ether, that's dark. That dark matter, it is dark, but it's light.
And listen, to
You
get
know what I'm
even
saying?
to get even trippier, you wouldn't know light if it wasn't for dark, and you wouldn't know dark if it wasn't for light.
It's all
One,
one.
they couldn't exist separate of each other. If you
It's
didn't,
all
if there was no dark, you wouldn't even be able to call something light.
exactly
So that's that trippiness in the like a paradox is something that seems conflicting, but it's not at the same time. So that's one of those paradoxes of duality is, for hot and cold, you could call both temperature. For happy and sad, you could say a mood. So there's always oneness.
right. So let's get to this comment, bro. Um,
I am new to your channel by way of Black Magic, Brother Rich. Can you explain in simple terms how to do shadow work?
um, so in simple terms, I would say if you meditate, that would be great. Because that to me that's a great process. So going to meditation, going to your mind, like we talked about earlier, everything's about the inner child. So connect with your inner child. Maybe do that first. Go play some video games. Go whatever you used to do when you was a child. Whatever that reminds you of that. Eat a certain type of cereal. Whatever, like just connect. Color out. Whatever it is that you connect with. Because that's a part of shadow work. You have to keep your vibration high. Do those high vibrational things at the same time. Don't just jump right into the traumatic things. And once you do that, connect with your imagination, meditate, close your eyes, go within, and assess your triggers. Whatever trigger resonates with you, that's where you start. And I'm just saying that's how because obviously we have to know what we're addressing and what we're attacking. So that's how you assess what the issue is. At that point, journal is very amazing. Write, you can write letters, whether you're going to actually give it to the person that you're writing it to, even if it's about yourself, certain type of guilt or certain type of pain. Write yourself letters. You can give the letter to that person, or you can actually burn that letter. Very therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? Burn a letter, maybe in your sink or something. Watch it just burn all the way, and use it as healing and let it go. So writing is wonderful. I would say, obviously talking, having a soul trial, having someone that you can speak to, like a therapist, actually being able to express these traumas and being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is the key. So make sure that whatever you do, if you're doing shadow work, make sure your room you feel vulnerable. The people that are around you feel vulnerable. Um, Being able to trust your environment is very important while doing shadow work. And at that moment, trust yourself. Once you figure out your trigger, it's about assessing that and letting go. So when you assess, you letting go of all the things. So if you know that this trauma came from this trauma came from that. That's the point of assessing those memories and assessing and saying, this what mama did, this what daddy did, this what Amy did, this what and giving those things back. I was made out to be an angry person and a person that really was just looking for love and these type of things because of my parents because so I had to detach from those things. So I hope that's a simple way to explain shadow work. How to do it. Like I said, if you paint, whatever you do, it's not necessarily when it comes to your passion and the thing that you love to do. I can't tell you about that part, but connect with your passion. You know what I'm saying? And connect with your inner child, with your imagination. Meditation. Like I said, meditation is the key. Um, get the book, The Four Agreements. That book will actually
Great
help you
book.
to naturally do shadow work because it's going to help you detach. Detachment is like the biggest part of shadow work. I feel like, especially at the beginning, because like we talked about earlier, there's a certain part of our shadow that's connected to certain people, and so right now when we're doing shadow work, you're when you start doing shadow work, you're going to become vulnerable whether you like it or not. That's why we want to make sure that we know and control the surroundings that we're in. You know what I'm saying?
And I would also say, just as simply as like, if you're literally just pulling up to the shadow work party, you're trying to figure out what this, shadow work is and how to get into it. One of our favorite words in the spiritual community, consciousness, right? Consciousness, or to be conscious or to be aware. The best start you can have with shadow work is to just, as we're actually talking about tonight, is to bring your shadow into the light and become aware of it. You just becoming aware of your shadow is going to honestly propel you into what needs to be done from there. When you become aware of the shadow, you're going to become aware, as King said, of the trauma that's the origin of those certain aspects of shadow. So if you let's say are having issues with anger, you're an angry person, right? A lot of people with anger issues aren't going to admit that they have anger issues or that they're angry, and as they say, for every problem you have to acknowledge first. The first part has to be admitting that there's a problem. So when it comes to shadow work, like we're talking about, bringing the shadow into the light as the first step is really going to show you what needs to be done. It's gonna be like a notification center of like, okay, here's where we are with this. Like I said, for example, you become aware that you're angry, and because the soul is the way it is, very few people are going to see that they have anger issues and say, you know what, let's rock out with these anger issues, let it ride. Very few people are going to be willing to go forward in life with those same issues, so even just bringing these things to the forefront makes you kind of go like, oh man, like I have been kind of angry for the last however many years. Then your intuition does the rest for you. Start thinking like, okay, well, where did I get so angry? That person pops into your head, that situation pops in your head, and you go, oh, wow, okay. So ever since then, I've been a little shorter with people. I've been a little more prone to snapping. Okay, why did that situation affect me in such a way that it changed my whole energy? And that's
Exactly.
that's when you end up in the middle of the shadow work, and you don't really have the questions anymore of like, okay, how do I do this? It's there. It's okay, this is how I do this. Okay, I stop being angry, or you might have to change some beliefs and some attitudes that you have about life and about other people. And as we're saying, and seeing other people as reflections of you allows you to remove the personalness of it all, and to make things less personal of, they did this to me, and I need to do this. And you know it removes a lot of the fluff and the gray areas once you just bring that into the light.
And breath work.
Right.
So
It's
breath
the
work for, cause we talking, if we talking about anger, we talking about certain emotions, certain, dealing with certain situations, doing that little 3 second inhale, exhale, stop talking, and just it really does a lot.
yeah,
Breath work is very important with shadow work because you're gonna feel like you're always being tested.
yeah.
And truthfully, you are.
I was gonna say because you are.
And so
You
with that being
definitely are.
said, yeah, it gets real tricky in that space. But I like how you said, assessing those certain people and then where did this come from and going to that down that it's memory lane. That's why I say inner child is very important. So don't rush the shadow work. It's
Because
not.
and not to cut you off, I know you can resonate. From our conversations, shadow work goes on autopilot at a certain point. Once you initiate, once you bring the shadow up and you hit the button and say, "Okay, I'm initiating shadow work," the universe and life goes, "Let's do it," and it grabs you by the hand and it I don't know it for me at least, and I feel
It's
like
a
for
thin
other people,
line though.
it's
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 a
it's
thin line.
it's a thin line because what shadow work will bring you through, sometimes you could never predict it. Like you some I was listening to a guy I listened to a lot earlier named Bob Proctor. He's actually the dude who made The Secret. So like real good source for info. But he was saying you can only connect the dots by looking at the past. There's no looking at the future and connecting the dots when you're in flow state and when you're trusting the unknown. You really can't do that, you know?
And you know what? In past is we don't see like Dr. B said, we are time travelers. If you're living in the past, you can literally live in the past. So
Yeah,
we know that is a real thing. So
yeah,
we don't live in the past, we reflect on the past. And I think we need to see the difference. We don't looking at these memories and assessing these memories from the heart space and from a place of change, of growth, of understanding. Like I said, the origin of where it's come from is different from reflecting on certain memories and allowing you to be depressed. And that's why I said don't rush shadow work. Don't jump
yeah.
and run and just go off the cliff and think you got to go all deep. Your I said this a few episodes ago. You may have had a lot of trauma. You know what I'm saying? See, my shadow work, how my shadow work started, it was real. And I took myself fast. My Kundalini actually rose twice. And both times I put my body through a lot of things because I
Mm.
actually it was too fast. The energy shot up too fast. You see what I'm saying? And that was the
That's
type of
definitely,
shadow.
and that's the thing. Your body has to gradually, get
My
used to
body
holding
was
that type
on
of energy.
fire, bro. I was sweating. I was throwing up, but my body was like it was the heat that we couldn't. The heat of my body, it was ridiculous. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But the point is that we have to. Everything is about balance. We talking about this Libra new moon. Everything is about balance. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Actually, let me transfer over. So far as the Libra new moon, this is amazing energy because it's the energy of balance, of healing, forgiveness, and self reflection. You see what I'm saying? So when we talking about emerging into the light, how do we do that? We do that with finding balance. So shadow work is about getting grounded. A lot of we must start for our chakras. Start with the root chakra for sure. That's where anxiety, fear, anger, that's where all those things lie. And once we find balance, then guess what pops up? Passion.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so that is a beautiful process, but we have to be balanced. We have to get healed. People are talking about different parts of the process. When I knew I was healed was when I started thinking about my mama life. Well,
Mm.
not healed, but because obviously it's all shadow work as I am healed, but I'm saying like we still got work to do, period. You know what I'm saying? There's always more work to do. But I'm saying like in that process of me going from this place to this place, I saw my shadow go more into the light when I said, dang, my mama, her life was hard.
Mm.
My mama didn't have a mama. You know what I'm saying? My father and started looking at who my father was and my grandpa and he don't even really, my
It
grandpa.
becomes less personal. You start giving that compassion and empathizing with the same people, as Jody was saying, that you felt wronged you so bad, or didn't understand you, it's like you really start to see them with compassion and empathize for possibly why they did that, and I feel like that's what. Well, listen, what's God always going to do? The Most High is always going to look at you, give you a second chance, see you as the perfect child of Him that you are. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't say Him. Source is going to see you as the perfected being that you are within Source. So it's like if we're ascending towards Godhood, why wouldn't we do the same for the others around us?
Exactly.
You know?
Because we know where we come from. You know what I'm saying? There's certain environments that we come from. You know what I'm saying? Like if we all sat here and told our story, man, like it would be, you know what I mean? It would be a real
Well,
life.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? People will hear things that they never even, you know what I mean, that you ain't never seen in a movie, nothing. Our people, we have been through some real things. You know what I'm saying? Like, something that I feel just I want to share is just, because my compassion for my father. You know what I'm saying? As far as alcohol and things of that sort, like I get it. It ain't no judgment. It's like, I could have been drinking. You know what I'm saying? I did many things. I did coke. I did X. All type of things at the same time. You know what I'm saying? I did all type of drugs when I was, when I went through my process. You know what I'm saying? So it's not
been
like
to that
I'm
same
perfect.
party, brother.
And I just look at it and I say, well, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to? I may not like the way he acts on it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When he on the liquor, but who am I to judge him for drinking it? You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna share this with y'all. My I don't know who my grandfather is. I really don't know too many stories about my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Truthfully, I mean I do, but not real stories. They are more like, what I'm saying, gangster. Street. You know what I mean? I really nothing about him as a person per se. Um, so my grandfather shot my grandmother, holding my father. You see what
Wow,
I'm saying? So that's how he came into this world.
man, that's heavy.
We're not even talking about his life after that.
Heavy.
And so, who am
Sheesh.
I not to have compassion? Who am I not to say, like, my life was real? I went through things. Him and my mother, things that they went through, they put me through hell of a things. But at the same time, it's like, I had the soul tribe. Obviously, I was guided in certain ways. We have to show gratitude in this
Yeah.
shadow work as well. That we are the chosen ones. And as I said on Brother Rich page, and I speak about a lot of times, we are not here to project our greatness in arrogance. We are here to project greatness in the energy of change.
Yeah.
I want the things that I am manifesting right now to bring change to my father's life, bring change to my mother's life. That
Mm.
way that I can actually kick it with them and we can kick it, and what I'm saying, like we can have, like we should. There is an optimistic aspect to healing.
Mm.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
I was just like, I'm glad you said that because that leads me to what I was thinking about is, and I thought about this earlier. You know, what if we dealt with everybody or our reflections as seeing them as their higher self, right? So anytime we're talking to somebody, knowing that, yeah, like their lower self is probably super present, in the interaction, but knowing that at all times you're speaking to somebody's higher self. You speaking to an aspect that might be dormant, but you're essentially seeing somebody, although they're not displaying it, you are still choosing to see somebody in their highest light and in their highest regard. That's how seeds get planted. Your higher self is always listening. Your higher self is always waiting uh to come to the forefront a little bit. So I feel like with that compassion, if we really saw each other, even if you have to see it as somebody, in a bright white robe, the way the Most High might see him, and really, instead of saying like, oh, they're this or they're that, or you really start to see, well, like King was saying, like, man, maybe they have trauma that's motivating them from this place, or that's causing them to act out from this place. Um, because listen, man, everybody has trauma, everybody has hurt. Like King said, we truly don't know everybody's story. You don't know at any given time who's dealing with what trauma or who's fighting an internal battle. So I find it prudent to see people as though they are their higher self, even if they don't see it, for themselves. That that you see that for them, and you appeal to that higher self and you speak to that higher self. Um, because as we said before, we're really just reminding ourselves and each other of these truths that we once knew. So, because of that, the soul acknowledges truth, at all times, even if somebody's ego won't bring it to the forefront of their awareness. So, I feel like that compassion and really seeing each other as our highest selves, is going to allow us to come together and not get so turned off, by each other's traumas and shortcomings. And even bringing it back to the Four Agreements book, that's one of the whole agreements, is not taking anything personal, because you realize you really can't take anything personal. Most of the time, somebody not, snapping on you, in traffic because of something you did, because they know your life. They have issues, they have traumatic things that they're dealing with that's causing that. So,
So family,
love, guys. I'll show you.
I'm about to put up an email, family, and y'all email this email to come join on. You know how we used to do on Instagram. We used to have the tribe on every episode. But I feel like it's it's one of them type of times. You know what I'm saying? We should connect with the tribe. Just Libra energy and with shadow work. So if you want to come on and chop it up, we can have, just kind of talk about shadow work or your process, from emerging, from the shadow to the light, um, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to post up a email right now.
Sure. Peace, family. Everyone in the chat. So much gratitude for being in.
Peace, family. So contact godenergy@gmail.com. You want to come tap in on the live. It's a little different than on the Instagram, for us, we could just add y'all right on, instantly.
Right.
But yep, shoot over that email and we locked in. And so at this point, let's get into the while y'all emailing, let's get into the Shadow Work Sunday Crystal. We actually did not do that. So we got a Shadow Work Sunday Crystal is actually Amazonite.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get to it. Yo, I had a situation just happen, bro, where I normally snap, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't, you feel me? Like, don't even feel like me, bro.
Sheesh. I mean, that's not a bad thing, though, bro. That just means that growth is real. Hey, by the way, crystals out on your neck.
Real talk. And it's Amazonite. I'm wearing it because it actually helps with dispelling negative energy, transferring trauma. It helps, bring a more of a soothing and a calming, energy. And it also helps me balance my divine masculine and my divine feminine, which actually would make sense why I didn't snap, because it is connected to the throat chakra. And where you get that shirt from, G?
Oh, this? You can get this from GodEnergyLLC.com. Strictly Shadow Work Sunday gear. You know the vibes.
Order now, family.
I say. Yep, so
Amazonite.
Yep, Shadow Work Crystal. Very, very, very powerful. This is actually Amazonite right here, a bracelet. I don't know if y'all can see that if it's beaming too bright because it's light. This is an Amazonite bracelet.
It's glowing.
Yeah. We see a little better like
Godly.
Colors. Yeah, very, very, very beautiful crystal.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, then let's get to it. So let's rock out. So you know how I like to do? We like to end the show with a high vibrational record. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about shadow work, deep healing. So let's get to it on a high vibrational track.
I'm waiting for this because I've been feeling this track.
Yes, sir. So this record is called Divine Purpose. And also, once again, if you want to jump on, send an email to contactguyenergy@gmail.com. We can chop it up.
Hi, Tina.
You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. Live from the cosmos. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. Back to the light, ultralight beaming, I'm passing the sky. The laws of the universe, I do know my rights. Manifestation, I see changes in my life. Black onyx, red corals, and Shanghai. This my zen, I meditate with open hands. I am abundant across the land. Yeah, I got the vibes for you. I turn the winter to summer. I see the power in numbers. But not in the clock you punching. Ain't nothing out my budget. You'll realize we running. It's about to kick off, no pun. No pun intended, I'm running with it. I must admit it, I love it. We flood the city like Noah with me, screaming tribe to my brothers. I'm Tory leading my life body. I'm super high, you buzzing. Shadow work for the love. Stage after I go in public. Straight like that. Killing these demons, headshot, no chest. Keep the lights on deck. See my soul glow as I project. Yeah. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down.
Much gratitude to the family. Peace, and love. You know, balance, obviously. That's the energy that we're speaking on. You know, once again, much gratitude to y'all. You know, super grateful. You know what I'm saying? For y'all support. High frequencies, you know the vibes. You know what I mean? Confession. It was. Hold on, let's talk about it. No, we don't play like that. Soul Tribe energy.
It was a time that I was trying to be like my father and grandfather. I couldn't handle it. I came to the conclusion that I had to be myself instead of someone else. I came to the right conclusion. Sound like to me.
See, you know me, bro. I don't, you know, messages like that keep me going. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, because I was doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to be my father. You know, my whole life. You know, which in resort it made me hate him. You know what I'm saying? Because not now, but I got to a point of hate and resentment because I felt like I had lost so many parts of myself because I was trying to be you. You know what I'm saying? And our parents, you know, people that raised us tend to have that type of effect on us.
Yeah.
You know, whether you raised by grandma, uncle, auntie, you know, they tend to have that type of effect. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And then we end up walking in their footsteps, and then we got to do, you know what I'm saying, what Rod the God, you know what I'm talking about, had to let us know that he did. He had to detach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He said, nah, that ain't me. And that's a part of shadow work, family. You finding yourself. You know what I'm saying?
If you think about it, man, like, you know, not to say it like that, but it's boring, you know, to try to fit a mold or, you know, to be a new incarnation, you know, of your family, you know, versus just exploring who you are, you know, with no type of reference point or nothing to compare it to. You know, there's a lot of magic in that.
I say. One moment. We got Tribe. About to come on. So give me 1 second, family.
It's lit.
Yes, sir. It's super lit. Got the fam finna tap in with us. So family, just check your email again. And we locked in.
Yes, Purple Lotus Flower family. Definitely hit that like button. Helps us get this to more viewers. That's
I
spreading the
say,
healing and the shadow work vibe. So yeah, please smash that like button.
I say, I
Also
say, I say.
subscribe so you can keep up with us.
And family, tribe in the email. Check your email again and click the link, and you will be tapped in. But yeah, much gratitude, family. If anybody actually got any more comments as well in the chat, anything that you want to speak on, um, I would just say for me, this has been a beautiful time. Shadow work. Don't be intimidated by it. Don't be scared of it. It's a beautiful process. It is the realest process when it comes to the spiritual walk. I truly believe that. But it's a process. If you're building a home or you're working on a project for work or whatever you're doing, you understand that's a process. If somebody's having a baby, a birth, we're talking about death and rebirth. Before that baby is here, it's a process. No matter how bad that family may want to see that baby, it's a process. You
Hmm.
see what I'm saying? And so we have to respect the process. You know what I'm saying? So respect the process, respect the circumstance of the process. You know what I mean? What it's going to provide.
Hmm. That's a fact. I share.
I'll say peace, 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 family.
Peace, family.
Greetings, greetings.
Much
Good to
gratitude.
have
Much
you.
gratitude. Yeah. We always love to have the divine feminine energy, you know what I'm saying, on the platform. That
Hmm.
balance is amazing.
Definitely good to be here. I've appreciated the build, so thank you. Like I said, I found you by way of Black Magic, and what you were saying resonated. So I said I had to get on with the Shadow Work Sunday because I've been hearing a lot about it. Kind of had a feeling that I was doing it, but just not with the proper term. But I've been doing shadow work all along, so just came for some confirmation and just want to be with the Soul Tribe. So
I
I
share.
say,
I share. It's great to have you.
yeah, yeah. So a little bit about my process. What I do, of course, meditate. Cleanse the area, the space, meditate. But how I tackle certain aspects of my shadow work is when I'm triggered. I literally will have a conversation with myself about the experience. I know, literally, and I will voice record it because I find that while
mm,
I'm vibing with myself, I start getting downloads and I'm able to piece a lot of things together.
Ooh.
I want to capture the moment and I'm at my best flow when I'm flowing. So I'll take a situation that has triggered me. Maybe, I didn't act in a way that I wanted to act. And I know that I was, outside of my character or going outside of my character or even feeling uncomfortable, even if I didn't get thrown off my square, but was feeling uncomfortable you know, I say, okay, let me sit down and have a conversation with myself about that. And I talk to myself as if I'm outside of my body, if you will.
mm,
Mm.
And that's my process, and I'll revisit it and do it as many times as I need to do it. Sometimes I'll come back the next day and the next day if I'm still and not at peace with the situation. And I'll just keep having that conversation until I'm what you call at peace. And what it has allowed
Mm.
is for me to be able to
mm.
have a lot of compassion in a sense of, and like you said about the book, Four Agreements, read it several times. And the act of not taking things personal, resolves a lot of issues that trigger us into responding
Yes.
outside of our character because, we're responding to something that we shouldn't really be responding to because they weren't even technically intentional, if you will. They were operating from
Exactly.
the space that they were in.
Hmm.
So once you realize that, you're kind of like looking at the situation like and it's kind of like you end up, for me, giving a lot of benefit of the doubt. So even if I'm having a conversation with a person and they're like, this person did X, Y, and Z to me, or I'm angry about X, Y, and Z, I'll pose that question, of the, well, perhaps, it wasn't intentional. Maybe they're coming from a place of brokenness or what have you, and giving them a different perspective. But that's how I treat, the situations within myself, and I tackle that. It's kind of like I'm my own therapist, or better yet, I'm
Exactly.
my own sounding board. Let's say that. and I'm giving myself compassion as well, being very forgiving for the fact that maybe I was thrown off my square or I was triggered outside of my character, if you will, and say, it happens. Let's get to the root of why it's happening and just have that conversation, voice recorded, so I can always come back to it and maybe even use it for content for something I may do later in life, such as write a book or share a story or what have you. So I
That's
have that
genius, honestly.
footage.
Genius.
And it's equivalent to journaling. And to be honest with you, it's
Yeah.
because maybe I don't feel like writing. Sometimes I want my hands free. I journal too, but a lot of times with the voice recording, it allows me to do it while I'm driving. If I'm on a long drive and I'm in my thoughts, I'm sitting with myself, I just start flowing and start recording. And what I'm piecing together is just like amazing. I'm like, where did that come from? As they say,
That's
bars,
right.
if you will. I'm like, okay,
No, for real.
Mhm.
so that's what my process is. But again, listen to people like Isis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but and Rashad Jamal. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him,
Yes,
but I've been
definitely.
hearing a lot lately about the shadow work, and I'm just like, okay, what is that? But I've been doing it all along. But again, just wanted to come for the confirmation and of course to build with you guys because you're focused on shadow work on Sundays. So I'm like, okay, that's what I need.
Okay.
And I appreciate your dialogue. It very, very insightful. So thank you.
Ashe,
First
much
and
gratitude.
foremost, like much
Much gratitude.
gratitude, and truthfully, I tap in on shadow work in that way as well, for us just letting it flow through the heart space and just but the recording it part, this the recording it part for me.
That's a
Um,
gem.
yeah, that's a gem because shadow work is about reflecting. So you are immediately setting up like this. You're pouring out your feelings. You're almost like venting to self, and then you're going back and reflecting on that. And in that is going to. It's like watching a movie. You know. Oh, that's so powerful. So yeah. First and foremost, much gratitude.
Ashe.
Um, I love your energy. You know what I'm saying. I'm grateful for you coming on here. And
Sure.
yes, you have been doing shadow work all along. And the thing about Shadow Work Sundays, it's not that it's not that we have all the answers, nothing like that. It's about what you said. It's soul tribe. We
Mhm.
are here connecting with each other. Now, are we going to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do? Of course. To come on here and actually make sure that we're aligned with the right energy, with the right message, of
Right.
course. Are we going to listen to the spirit and see, well, what are we going through? Or me
Hmm.
and Bo gonna have dialogues, and we call it shadow boxing to figure out where our shadow is actually,
Hmm.
Hmm.
from my heart space and flow
Right.
freely. So I'm super grateful. You know what I'm saying? You are a light, you know what I'm saying, for show out here. And yeah, I don't you just cover so much ground
Yeah.
in such an amazing way in your process. Like I said, I'm just grateful to know that we are out here growing, you know.
Exactly. Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, I think I speak with both say welcome to the tribe. You're officially, yeah, officially part of the Shadow Work Sunday tribe.
And it's a tribe that I've been looking for a long time as well, because a lot of us enlightened ones, if you will, or the different stages of enlightenment that we're in, a lot of times we're not equally yoked with those around us. We're the odd person out in the family. They're like, you're crazy, for example. You're crazy. Like one of the other people who are listening spoke about when they said grand rising and how the response they got. A
Right.
lot of people can't vibe with where we are at the time, but
Hmm.
we weren't always at these
Exactly.
levels. I
Exactly.
look at it as this tiers to this thing.
Exactly.
It's all about, as to say, the elevator, if you will, and we're constantly ascending to different levels. And once we complete that one, we go to the next one.
Yep.
And then one thing I was talking to someone about too that dawned on me when I was young, right? I remember I used to play a video game called Contra. And
Mhm.
when I looked at that video game, it made me realize how life is like a video game, if you will. Like literally, when I was playing Contra, you're an army personnel and you're going through the wilderness. You're not really knowing where the enemy is coming from, where the danger is coming from, but you're navigating through. and you get to grab different weaponry, you know. And I remember one of the things that made me so happy is when I found the cheat code where I was able to give myself unlimited life. So every time we died, you get to come back and come back and come back. And I noticed that every time, of course, we would come back, we're able to get further and further in the game. And that's life in a sense. We're coming back, and it's all about how we navigate through, and we can utilize the different tools that are around us, even in the metaphysical world. Some may use numerology, cardology, astrology, tarot, whatever mode you choose to use. Those are those tools equivalent to a rifle or a machine gun or a flamethrower when playing that video game.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get to the end, it's like, okay, we had this large battle, if you will, this grand stand, just to what? Make it to the next level, to do it all over again. But just now, it's like, what new things are going to come our way? So I'm like, it's just so
And,
fun.
and like I was saying earlier in the episode, would the game even be the game if those things weren't coming? You know, it wouldn't even be the experience that it is. You know, that's why you buy the game, which
That's
is the crazy part.
And
You know?
more importantly, how boring does the game get when you know what's going
Exactly.
to happen? So, again,
Exactly.
speaking about how we put ourselves into these compartmentalized, you said, by way of time and space, if you will, just so we can't be all knowing. Because I look at it like handicap. You know how when you're playing sports, I think we can put a handicap on it, such as running track. If you ever wonder why when running track, people are at different levels, no one's starting from the same line. It's like they're, and some people, when they want to put an extra challenge on themselves, they put, we call it a handicap, if you will, to give you a little more of a challenge
Because
so
it
that
makes it
you
more
really
fun.
experience better. It's kind of, I look at us in this experience as going through that same thing. We put the handicaps on ourselves to come back, in different forms and fashions. Like you were saying earlier, somebody might come back in a white woman's body, or you come back in different ways, because it gets boring when you're all knowing and you can do it all. So
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be so ironic? Wouldn't that
right.
be so ironic that we down here in these circumstances, we get flustered and agitated by it? Wouldn't that be hilarious if we literally stacked all these things against us before we came? Like you just said, like a video game where you set it to hard mode. It's just like,
Mhm.
nah, I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna set the game to
Right.
hard, and I'm gonna really do it. And then when
Ex-
you down here, you just like, oh my god,
Well, you know what? It's technically facts though, because we pick our parents, we pick our
yeah,
family.
mhm.
So a lot of our trauma with our inner child, and all the things that we're fighting today comes from
we
the
picked
people
our
that we
poison.
picked. Exactly. And to take the video game thing, like I like to say that it's like more to combat, and you
Mhm.
on these stages, but it's you versus you. So how it get harder and harder, but each
Right.
level is you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you fight another level of yourself. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? But it's actually beautiful because you are ascending. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like the reason why Shadow Work Sundays is even a thing is because the spirit is like, yo, there's people out here that are focused on the dopamine. They want that dopamine fix. And don't get me wrong, we are information is important. That's why I sit on Brother Rich page. It's because we got a lot of information. I mean, we're moving at a high vibration, and so it's a lot of us out here that have a lot of information, but arrogant with it,
Right.
stingy with it, selfish with it, looking down on our people. We have became religious with our information,
Right.
Yeah,
and that's only because of our shadow work. Because maybe we didn't get attention at home, or maybe we was picked on, or maybe we was so these things are reflecting, but we not connecting the dots.
right.
On that game in this game, it's just a game. If you
Game.
sit back and analyze it, see,
Mhm.
I love movies, right? And so
Mhm.
I'm in a point where like me watching movies, I'm naturally decoding it as I'm watching it. It's like
Right.
these movies are becoming way better than what they intended them to be. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so I'm watching these movies and I'm decoding them and I'm breaking it down. I do the same thing with my life now,
Oh,
But that's
wow.
why I like the voice recording because I need more of that to
Yeah.
decode. You know, um,
Okay.
my brother, him and his I'll practice a couple that I know would actually record their arguments. So they would argue regular and it wouldn't work. And there would be confrontation. They like, look, we got a certain amount of time to talk. And like that time
I've
ago,
actually been in situations where we did that.
but that's genius because how many times you get into an argument with a family member, somebody you talking to, and they always talk about what you didn't say.
I'm the one that I'm like, we're going to record it because you're not going to keep lying on me. I know it's ego, but it's like, what you know. And I know I wasn't the one who yelled
Let's
first.
run the tape back.
Said this, so we get to record it. And I run that thing back and it's like, okay, you're right. So now what, nigga? You're right. So now what? What? Do something different next time.
I don't know if you ever watched Chappelle Show. You got to get the home stenographer. You know what I'm saying? Like in the courtroom, they're just the whole time like, people will get you crazy. And Logical, let me ask you,
yes.
do I hear Baltimore in your voice?
Oh yeah, you know it.
Yeah, okay. And see, King knows I got a thing for the twang and the way people speak, but I could hear it immediately because I'm not too far from you actually. So I'm a Marylander myself at the moment. I'm not gonna get too detailed, but we're not too far away at all. Put it that way.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I got love for my Marylanders and my Baltimore people though. I think y'all have probably one of the most unique like twangs to voice / accents, and I think our people are beautiful people, no matter where we're from, we all have that. But to me, the voice and to be able to hear where somebody's from is a very beautiful thing.
It is.
So yeah,
I take my Baltimore all day because I said it for a reason. So I'm claiming it, I'm keeping it, and I get it. Hey, it's all mine, and all the rest of the Baltimore.
Ashe. And it's good to know you close and in distance. We're not too far away, like I said. So that's beautiful.
So Julio, I tell you, I'm a real my empath ability is to be doing stuff. So I'm just sitting here enjoying your energy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying not to stop. I'm trying to stop smelling. You have amazing energy. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, what do you do? If you don't mind me asking.
What do I do?
Yeah, that probably might be like a very country way to word that question.
I don't even know how to answer the question. How do I do in regards to what do I do in regards to what? My profession, my life, my day to day.
I'm not even getting profession.
Okay.
Purpose.
Right now, I'm a student of life. Let's just say that. Right now, I'm just ascending and trying to figure out where to fit in, where I get in at. I know I want to be of service to my community, always have. I'm a warrior spirit, feminine, divine, but warrior spirit. I've always felt like I'm sitting here dormant, ready for battle once activated, if that makes any sense. You know how you have sleeper cells, but of course, on the side of righteousness, on the side of my people, if you will. But, more realistically speaking, just a student of life right now, trying not to force anything. But I know I have this burning desire that there's something great I should be doing.
I can feel it.
And I'm trying not to force it because I know everything in its proper timing. And so I just feel like long as, I continue to do the work and ascend, study, go within, I'm learning from everyone, go within instead of
the whole bar right there.
Going outside at one point. I'm going to all the teachers and I'm like absorbing all the information, like show me where to go. And we talk about that handicap again, right? Every time I would try to get definitive direction outside of myself, some kind of way would get shut down. The communication would get stopped. Like, for example, try to get a reading done. And of course, I'll pay for the reading. And this is after vetting the reader, and getting it from a reputable source. And I'll pay the money and I'm waiting, and some form of miscommunication, I just never receive it. Because I was looking for answers from someone else. Tell me what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet. And what I've been getting most recent over the last year, if you will, is in here. I don't have to go outside and look for any direction. I have the ability to tap in on the inside. So I spend more time focusing on that right now. And I know that when the time is right, I'm going to be moving. And I'm not a person that sits around BSing, if you will. So I know I try to make a balance of it, not be too hard on myself, have compassion for myself, like, the compassion that I have for others as well. Right. Because in a lot of cases, I used to feel like I'm behind, like I'm running out of time. I'm not doing quick enough. Where's my soul tribe? We got to work. We got things to do. but I'm seeing the shift of energy right now, and I know that there is a spot for me. It's just when that time comes, and if the time hasn't come yet, it's because there's something more I need to acquire or do or go within. So I'm spending more time just going within. So you say, what do I do? In a sense, I could say I do nothing, but really,
I do everything and nothing at the
right,
At
I
same
the
do
time.
same time, yeah.
literally everything.
I'm everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Literally, I just came from Stone Mountain with Brother Rich, and I'm literally everywhere and nowhere. But again,
Nice.
everything in its due time. So
Well,
Yes. In due season.
I'm so grateful. You know what I'm saying, for you to be a part of the Soul Tribe.
Me as well.
We there is something there.
oh yeah,
I'm going to just be waiting to see what with you and the God within manifest. But it's very bright.
yeah, appreciate
You
you
can
guys.
tell you've been doing shadow work. You've been doing certain
Yeah.
things. See,
Hmm.
it's not just about the information. See,
Of course.
people have to get that we are dealing with energy. And since
Hmm.
we're dealing with energy, when a person is vibrating at a certain level and have put in a certain type of work, they can pick up on what
Oh
you
yeah.
are immediately, whether it's positive or negative. And that energy that you just,
Definitely radiates off of you.
very, very luminous, and it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you this because it's kind of like, as a soul tribe, with having the family that call you crazy, and having the friends
Right.
that don't want to talk to you no more, and having the jobs that you don't want to work no more, and all these different type of processes that we go through. It feels good to have what we thought family was.
Hmm.
See, I've always had a desire for family. I'm a family person with no family.
I
You
get
know,
it. Trust me, I get it.
so it's like that's a big contradiction. And I have people like, I'm authentic. I don't want to say her name wrong. Michella. Don't be mad at me. I'm authentic. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to say her name right. But she's an amazing soul, and she became my sister. And
That's
through
beautiful.
Shadow Work Sundays, on point.
Shout out to her.
My brother, Rod, my brother. It's different people
Hmm.
that just have Marty, different people that we have been growing with, and I'm just telling you that it's a soul tribe. We
Yeah.
really we
I
have
know.
a Telegram. Shadow Work Sundays 555. That's where we can actually chat throughout the week and things of that sort. We also do one-on-ones. So if you want to tap in like on a personal note, and we just kind of having a more intimate conversation. It's never going to be neither. It's going to be both of us at all times. That's the balance. You know what I'm saying? We have to hold ourselves accountable as well. To
Free of charge, of course. No price tag on that.
Yeah, that's my problem.
At the moment,
I don't.
until the demand has outweighed the the fulfillment, that's off the hook.
It's because it's a lot of foolery in
Oh,
the
Yeah,
spiritual community. Like you said,
I know.
I've paid money for readings. I've from big names and little names I've dealt with out here. Because not that that matters to me, but it seems to matter to some people. But I'm saying that it's a thin line um, in the spiritual community, and they are taking advantage
I
of the
know.
people that are desiring a higher, like you said, I wanted to know me. When I came into this, I realized that we was more than just slaves, and my ancestors is more than Africa. And you talk about we ain't even from Africa, and we now I'm talking about Atlantis, and so I started to feel like, hold on, wait, you know what I'm saying? I want who am I? Who are my parents? We talking about the
Hmm.
cosmos. We talking about
Right.
these real royal families. We talk like, hold on, So who am I? And it actually like it makes you like you feel like you're like you said, you feel like you're behind, you feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to do, because you see people that are saying where they from and who they are, and you like not knowing that could be foolery.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fear mongering, a lot of getting a lot of people to feel scared of what's coming.
you know what they say.
Whatever's coming is you, so we can't be scared of ourselves.
Right.
And
Right.
ourselves, the light part of ourselves is the unknown.
Hmm.
It's a part we don't know. It's something that we can't. When people, the Bible says that you will know in part, but all the Christians think they know everything. It says you will know in part. So you coming on here tonight, you were bringing us a part of the truth that we didn't have, and we're all bringing these different parts of the truth,
Exactly.
coming together. But when
Mhm.
we get into that ego and we're not moving through the heart space, now it's like me, 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 me. I got the truth,
Hmm.
you
Right.
know, So I'm grateful that you were in your heart space. You just a great soul. Thank you for joining the tribe, and
Oh
I think
shit.
I feel like you're gonna be back on one day.
Oh, I'm gonna try to be
In a
here
more
every Sunday.
intentional. No, I'm saying like on here in a more intentional, like maybe a guest or something one day. We'll let the universe move how it moves. Because, but I just you have a very motherly energy,
Wow.
very motherly, very
Hmm.
even though and I come from down south, so I come from a motherly energy where it's like, I'll whoop your ass, like mother energy, but I'll hug you too, like a real it's not necessarily like I'm just in that warrior side of it that
Hmm.
is all channeled from love. You only like we spoke about earlier, that mother that'll be in a situation to save her child's life. You are that, but it's a nurturing aspect of it, that you have on you.
Well, can I add something? It's interesting that you say that because when I was on Stone Mountain, one of the brothers that I met there, his name was King. He told me the same exact thing. He said he was a younger brother, and he said that a lot of he said you have a lot of, I think he said sons. He either said sons or children, but I think he said you have a lot of sons. He said there's a lot of us out here who needs mothers,
Mm.
and I'm
That's
like,
deep.
wow, I never looked at it from that aspect. And when I was younger, I used to be a rapper. Guess what my rap name used to be? And don't laugh because it's kind of, it's that whole spin on how we speak, but it was mother as in mother, but mother with the poor English, mother Lisa. And
Hmm.
I'm
That's
telling you, I was
crazy.
probably around 14, 15, 16. I was like a local celebrity in my town, because, I was the next Queen Latifah, if you will. That was who I
Okay. Yeah,
appreciated back in the day.
I'll
But
say.
but nonetheless, I mean,
Mm.
that was probably, thinking about the future, maybe not necessarily in the sense of rapping, obviously, but just that whole motherly instinct,
That's
you
deep.
know. And so it's funny that you said that. And I'm looking at your name, I am King Manifest 777. The gentleman I was speaking with, his name was King. He said the same thing
Two
approximately
kings
2
told
years
you the
ago.
same thing.
That's deep.
So I appreciate that because it actually warmed my heart, because I kind of do feel like that, the love and what I feel like I want to give. It's just been difficult, of course, but again, I think it's still all part of the process as well. Like you say, we signed up for this for a reason,
Right.
so gotta
Stack,
respect it and just
stack,
go through
stack
it.
the board against us. Put the settings on hard. We're here now.
That's right.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep. So I
so
appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for having me on.
no problem.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure.
Much
Literally,
gratitude. Much gratitude.
much gratitude.
Yeah. So we're gonna so just because we're gonna rock out like this. So just an update on the family. We are emerging from the shadow into the light. Remember that process can cause an identity crisis. The identity crisis is not a negative thing. It is the fact that you have something is playing with your oneness. Something is attacking your oneness. So that's the only reason why it feels like this crisis is because your oneness has become attacked. You have became crazy
And like,
in many parts, in many pieces. Broken.
Sister
Um,
Logical said, it must mean that there's something left for you to see, or there's something left for you to understand.
let's
Mhm.
go. And that's honestly what we live by. Anytime me and bro have a situation, we talk in our life, we assess. Well, okay, dang, what's my shadow trying to teach me? Like you said, it's a game. It actually makes it fun. Like you said, not boring. It makes it like, okay, let me see what else I need to learn. And
Because I don't
sometimes
been in a certain situation to be like, I'm not learning something clearly. What is it?
What am I missing? Like, yeah.
And because
you
it's
know
like
what,
it wouldn't be happening if I had got it.
Right.
and I want to speak on this too. Being broke is a part of the shadow. So that same process we talking about, we got to go through that same process with being broke. mentally, emotionally, not because emotions, like when you're broken and you're sad and you're angry, truthfully, you are broke at that time. You're not spirit is what gives you life. You spirit, you up, you joyful. That's your spirit.
Hmm.
And so when you broke emotionally, spiritually, it affects your physical realm because you're thinking and you're projecting your life. So now it's like, you know what? I might have had some good things coming to me, but I didn't got depressed. I didn't got upset. I didn't say all type of crazy stuff. In this 30 minutes, I didn't change the next 3 months of my life. When I got mad and just started just projecting out, projecting out,
Hmm.
projecting out. I think with shadow work, we have to know that we are powerful, yo. You are powerful. It's not like this shadow is not to be intimidated by, because first of all, this shadow is the untapped into, unmatched part of yourself. So if you believe that you the stuff now, then just imagine if you get your shadow and
Right.
bring your shadow up. And
The
like
speed.
we wouldn't be here today with Shadow Work Sundays if it weren't for me picking my shadow up. Because I had a part of me where I didn't like people.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, bro, I can't. And I loved people. It just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I call myself an antisocial extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
I get to know you, we kicking it like they like, bro, what? But if we go to a room, I'm quiet, I'm peeping, I'm watching all corners,
Mm-hmm.
so and I get the energy from you as well. You're a
Yeah.
watcher. You know
Oh
what I'm saying?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Very much so a watcher,
Hmm.
you know.
It's
Which
pretty. Yeah.
but the watchers in this time, the spiritual community, the watchers right now,
Mm-hmm.
we are very important right now
Oh yeah.
because we are the ones that are going to be, as we call it, clear the air.
Hmm.
We're here to clear the air. You know what I'm saying? Like you said.
Explain
So
that. Clear the air.
I've always been a rebel my
Mm-hmm.
whole life, right? Whether it was on the positive side or the negative side, I was a rebel. Whether I was fighting for people or fighting against people,
Okay.
um, it was a rebel. Um, and I'm sorry, that's my train of thought. What's the
Rebel
last thing I said? No, before that.
fighting for the good
Clear,
and bad.
clearing the air.
Yes, there we go.
There we
So,
go. Hey, okay.
yeah, clearing the air. So, as the watchers, there's a lot of us that are open, right? We talked about this earlier about how we are looking for something, right? And we're open to certain places and certain communities. There are people that actually do just need to go through that process. They need to, this is actually helping them. They need to learn that they are gods and goddess and that their ancestors are not slaves. And they need to do these self affirmations. They need to, so whatever they're learning is positive information, but there's sprinkles of BS constantly. And this
Hmm.
BS is actually causing people to be confused and misled from the truth. And so I feel like
Mm.
the watchers are the discernment of the community.
Hmm.
We are the watchers are the first. If we would look at the community as a body, you have the
Hmm.
chakras. The watchers are the
We
first
that.
eye.
We that. Yeah.
Here to bring the awareness to, and it's not just about the spiritual community, it's about the world completely. But I'm saying a lot of us are already know are conscious enough to see the world is crazy, the government is this and that, so where we're getting the hoodwink now in certain aspects is the spiritual community, is our own people. The kinfolk ain't, I would say our kinfolk ain't, what they say, our skinfolk ain't kinfolk,
Kinfolk isn't kinfolk.
and not saying that they're negative, but
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like knowing that you're powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a choice how to use our power. So if right now if you get a power that come online where you got fire shooting out your hand or something, or you can read people's minds or something,
Mm-hmm.
you could choose
Hmm.
to go and rob a bank, or you could go, or you could choose, what I mean? It's about how you want to channel that energy. And
Right.
so I believe that the watchers are the
Mm.
people that are here to, the mothers, that divine feminine energy, what mama do, what big mama do,
I say.
I say.
Mm-hmm.
I say. The watchers are important, man.
Yeah,
We
you
got.
explained things very well. Thank you, guys. I love it. Listening to you, I was just shaking my head the whole time. I'm like, yes, exactly. I love it.
I say, I
I
Feels
say,
say,
mm-hmm.
if you like it, we love it.
yeah,
That's what we're
yeah.
here for.
Um, so whenever when we get off here, or you can share right now. I'd like to connect with you on Instagram and then maybe Telegram. But yeah, so we can tap in
Okay.
outside of here. We like to connect. This is not a it's not. That's why I said the money thing is hard for me. Even though I know obviously it's a part of we gotta make money. We got I got bills. It's a real thing. I'm married, so it makes sense. At the same time, that's I've seen so much in the church now in this world where we have our people already don't be having it like that anyway. And in certain situations, it's like just because we don't have it financially, that don't mean that we don't deserve the information or deserve to heal. I don't even look at healing. I used to look at healing as a black thing, not literally, but anything spiritual. But
Okay.
shadow work, I have did my shadow work even more. Where I'll look at a Caucasian or look at an Asian or look at I don't care who you are. You have a shadow. You have trauma. You have pain. And if I feel like that's the energy that we should be as a collective, we should just be reflected in that. You know what I'm saying? And if we could do it, and obviously I'm still working on that. I'm talking about my mother, and I have compassion, but I'm still frustrated over here on this side, and you know what I mean. But once we deal with that frustrated part, and that's where the mothers come in and
Hmm.
bring that balance. Big Mama house where everybody go to. I didn't know nobody number in my family, but I knew Big Mama number. I still know it to this day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's that place. So that's I feel like that's um I don't know. You just gotta tap in on that. You are a whole community. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We have a Shadow Work Sunday. This is a family. You know what I'm saying? So you may find a person on here that needs you. You know what I mean? Or like that's how it's been working for us. He got people he talk to. I got people I talk. We talk to everybody, but it's like we're just connecting. You know what I mean? So have fun. Feel free. This is a heart space led community. That's why, like I said, I speak on so many things over there because not saying that we don't. The ego has a place.
Right.
It's not that it needs to die. It does have a place, but when we're talking about healing, the ego, it has no room. So like I said, feel free. This is a vulnerable place, and yeah, the chat's open. You can post messages. You can. It's not a Telegram where we only can post.
Right.
We have something you want to share with the community. You can share it. All that. So I'm just letting you know this is it's not. There's no
Open forum.
walls. This is about us connecting merging with each other to
Right.
become one.
Energy
Hey,
exchange.
I say.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it.
I ain't even looking at the chat, so I know they going in. I
I
say.
want to see the chat too.
Yes, logical. Your energy is very common.
Mhm.
I can agree. That's why we on here just chilling. Like we just almost got something to say and don't got nothing to say. But I almost
I say.
So is following you how to connect with you? Or you say you have a Telegram as well. That's all in the bio on your
Actually,
Instagram page?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna
On
drop
the
in the
Instagram,
chat.
these are actually, yeah, that's perfect. Appreciate it, bro. And these are the I Am King Manifest 777 Julio Weeks. That's our Instagram names as well. Um, and yeah, we're live every Sunday on here at 5:55 p.m. PST. So obviously we're on different parts of the world, you know what I mean? So that PST is very important, you know.
I've been looking for you guys all day. It was so funny because I'm like, where to find you? I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. I'm like, it's 5:55. But then I noticed the whole, P Pacific time. So I said,
Hmm.
okay, do the math. Figured it out eventually, but yeah.
And that's the part that I left out on Brother Rich page. Like I was really like I'd be so in flow state and so in my heart space, like the with the fact that I was able to be on there, I was like, no, shadow work is important. You know what I'm saying? So I was really tapped in on that, and I was really not even really thinking about everything per se. You know what I'm saying? I got to shadow work. Sometimes this is what we're doing, but I was more focused on the message of shadow work. You know what I mean? But that's a very important part. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful that you're here.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that you were
Thank
checking, checking for it. That's very, very grateful for that support. And I don't know if you know this, but we talk about different subjects every Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, different subjects. We have actually hit a lot of subjects. This is season 2, episode I think 8.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So and each season is 9 episodes. So we're on probably like our 15th episode or 14th episode. We've covered many different subjects, but we like to go back. So we'll do a part 2, part 3 of each one. We talked
Oh,
about the inner child, like 4 parts. We love the inner child over here.
For a fact.
and
Yeah,
all
but
of the replays are available. I saw a few, but are all of them available or no?
so that's a part of why we on here as well. So Instagram, we love Instagram because we was able to bring people on like this, like through the live. We was just bringing on the tribe. It was lit to connect with the community, but we can't get our videos off Instagram.
Okay, but they're not on YouTube though,
Right?
because I
I know.
did see some.
Yeah, at that time we were only going live on Instagram.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
We
ones you
actually,
see now are the ones that, all the episodes from YouTube since we transitioned. But yeah, all of us prior to that are stuck on YouTube or stuck on Instagram.
and I'm still working on it. We're gonna get them over here. You
Mm-hmm.
know how it
Try
goes,
to
man.
migrate them.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's some good, man. It's a lot of good information on Instagram. We elevated, we had to, and also Instagram is more of a easy. Everybody don't have. Everybody don't have Instagram. Everybody got a YouTube.
Mhm.
So it made it easier. Some people's like, I don't have Instagram. That want to tap in. So this is more of a universal platform.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll be getting. And also on Instagram, I can send you some episodes in your inbox as well.
Okay.
So you can tap in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, what we should do, bro, we should actually post all the episodes on Telegram
We could
for
definitely do
now.
that.
So
Right.
thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? You just
Right.
gave me that insight to do that.
Now, what's the Telegram connect again?
As a Shadow Work Sundays 555.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Same thing. Okay. Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. That'll work.
I say.
Shay.
Oh, and also, I apologize, Purple Lotus, Candy. I'm sorry. I actually have. I've been doing a lot. I blinked out. I just got to the promo of the crystals. I have another fly I want to show you guys really quick. That I posted showed a long time ago. I will be on a podcast next Saturday. Very powerful goddess. We tapped in, and I'm very grateful to be on her platform. But this is the flyer right here to give you guys a little bit more information.
Okay, dope. Yes, sir. So we'll be tapped into that.
Yep. So Purple Lotus Flower is her. So at Purple Lotus Flower 888 actually. So y'all tap in with her. Follow her on Instagram, all platforms, YouTube. Yeah, very powerful goddess. She talking about healing as well. So it's another healing platform, another healing outlet to go tap into. And I'm grateful to be able to connect with her as well.
It's a fair. We'll be in attendance for that. Let's believe.
My Shay. All right, family. Well, we're gonna rock out. And also on Telegram tonight, y'all, if y'all can, or at any time this week, y'all have any certain subjects y'all want us to speak on, drop them in the chat, and we can start doing that as well. Hitting certain subjects that people are actually going through and want to maybe harder, challenging areas as well.
And
Well, much
y'all welcome the newest member to the Soul Tribe Logical.
Appreciate it.
I say.
A beautiful addition, I must say. Very.
Let's Let's drop 1111 in the chat right now for logical. That one right there, see them ones right there on the name logical, the logical one. Drop them ones in the chat.
Hey, and coincidentally, there's 11 people in the chat right now.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Or 11 people in attendance. So yeah, we
Uh-huh.
I dropped a 1.
Wow, I really thought I'm the one in the world doing shadow work. Thought I was losing my mind. Now we out here, fam. We tapped in.
Now you here with us.
Yeah. All right. Well, much gratitude again. I'm going to give us something to rock out to, and we out. Peace, love, and healing.
Peace.
Focus on balance and continue to grow, family.
And see you next Sunday.
That's right.
You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. You know what I'm about. I do this for real. This is not for cloud. Live from the cosmos. High frequencies of sound. It's up in the store. Ain't no coming down. Back to the light, ultralight beaming, I'm passing the sky. The laws of the universe, I do know my rights. Manifestation, I see changes in my